Proud to serve northeastern and central Pennsylvania. This is WNEP 16, the news station. Now, Nolan Johannes, Karen Harch, Chief Meteorologist Tom Clark with his backyard forecast, and Joe Zone on sports. This is the Newswatch 16 update.
A teacher's contract dispute in Jersey Shore goes back to the bargaining table on Friday. 5 hours of negotiations today turned up no contract settlement. The strike in Lycoming County moves into its 8th school day tomorrow. 183 teachers are keeping 3,400 kids out of the classroom. The Jersey Shore teachers want a bigger pay raise than what the district is offering. A state mediator has stepped in and has put a news blackout on the contract negotiations. Negotiators for both sides in the Panther Valley School District labor dispute will talk contract tomorrow night. Unionized teachers there are also facing their 8th school day of striking. The teachers in Carbon County want more money from the Panther Valley School District.
Still no settlement tonight in the United Auto Workers strike against General Motors. But the union has given GM a new proposal to look over, and the head of the UAW is hopeful a national strike can be avoided. In the meantime, picket lines are still up at 13 selected GM plants across the country. Because of that, the automaker has had to lay off more than 8,000 non-striking workers, as there's nothing for them to do. General Motors says production lines are turning out 8,000 less cars a day than they should be because of the strike. A hot-selling GM car that is in even shorter supply because of the strike has come out a winner in the government's latest crash tests. The Federal Transportation Department tests the cars to see how well they'll hold up in a crash. In tonight's Action 16, Jerry Gartenburg takes a look at the test results and has a phone number for you to call if you'd like more information on the safety of the new cars.
Since 1979, the government's been crash testing cars to find out how well they protect passengers and drivers in a collision. This year it ran tests like these on 38 new model cars. And you know what? Half of those cars failed the tests. The government says if you have a crash at 35 miles an hour in a car that failed, the likely result for you and your front seat passengers is serious injury or death. The car with the very worst score in the crash test is the 1984 Ford Tempo. Some of the other cars that scored low on crash safety are the Isuzu Impulse, the Renault Sportswagen, the Nissan Stanza, and the Pontiac 1000. The car with the best marks on crash testing for 1984 is the Pontiac Fiero, followed by the Honda Civic CRX, the AMC Jeep CJ7, and the Dodge Daytona. If you'd like a complete list of the government's crash results for 1984, you can get it by calling this toll-free number, 1-800-424-9393. That's 1-800-424-9393.
Now, you might be wondering, if half the cars tested don't protect us in a crash, what's the government going to do about that? The law says it can fine manufacturers for making unsafe cars, even issue recalls on those cars. We called the Department of Transportation to ask if it has any plans to announce fines or recalls. The department says it has no such plans. So for you and me, that means buyer beware. Jerry Gartenburg, Action 16.
And coming up, the president said yes to the farmers, but no to the steel industry.
Plus, we'll be telling you where Joe Kittinger and his balloon will be flying to next. The uplifting story as Newswatch 16 Update continues.
Hey, Joe.
Financially strapped farmers here in northeastern and central Pennsylvania will be getting a break from Uncle Sam. At the White House today, President Reagan admitted that economic recovery hasn't hit our nation's farmlands. So as ABC's Rita Flynn reports, the president has come up with a plan to help farmers get back on their feet.
That have experienced.
Faced with political problems down on the farm, President Reagan today freed up $630 million in federal loan guarantees and put off for up to 5 years portions of the debt already owed the government by thousands of American farmers. In making the announcement, Mr. Reagan blamed the Carter-Mondale administration for much of the farmers' fix, billing his own plan as a more balanced approach.
The right program is a transitional program that helps farmers get from the high inflation, high interest and economic disasters of the previous administration to the stable growth, low inflation, and lower interest rates that all of us are bringing about.
In response to reporters' questions, the president insisted today's announcement is neither a bailout nor a political ploy. But with a campaign stop set for Iowa this week, he's sure to think his latest proposal makes hay in the Farm Belt. Rita Flynn, ABC News at the White House.
While it appears the president is bending over backwards for failing farmers, he's standing firm against a plan that some say would help the struggling steel industry. As you know, American steel workers, including some in our area down around Bethlehem, have been complaining they're being hurt by foreign steel. Well, today the Reagan administration said no to a recommendation that quotas be placed on steel imports. Instead, the president decided to ask other nations that produce steel to hold down their exports here, and he wants to step up efforts to stop unfair trade practices. Walter Mondale, on the other hand, has said he would put restrictions on steel imports. Nolan?
There's some good news for exporters as well as importers doing business in the Allentown, Bethlehem, Easton area. U.S. Customs is trying to save them some trucking expense. Instead of picking up or delivering their goods in Philly, New York, or Scranton Wilkes-Barre's International Airport, where there already are customs checkpoints, there is now a 60-day trial customs office here at an industrial site near the airport in Lehigh County. One trucking company official headquartered in Avoca says the Allentown, Bethlehem, Easton experiment should be good for the whole area.
Spreading of my business to this area to handle import shipments through this area will enhance Avoca, Pennsylvania and northeastern Pennsylvania as well. It is a mutual effort between the two locations.
About a dozen companies are expected to use the 60-day import-export trial at the ABE Airport in Lehigh County. Well, it wasn't an airport where one transatlantic traveler finally landed today. ABC's Tim O'Donnell reports on the ending of the first solo Atlantic balloon crossing.
Over the Mediterranean, Joe Kittinger was in the home stretch. His 10-story high balloon had already passed over the coast of France Monday evening, making Kittinger the first balloonist to cross the Atlantic solo. The Air Force test pilot also did it in record time. But where would he land? Gusty winds kept everyone guessing and kept Kittinger aloft. After crossing the Italian Riviera, Kittinger tried to bring the Rosie O'Grady down at a freeway rest stop, but again the winds changed his plans, blowing the balloon into the woods. Helicopters tracked his progress, and Italian police finally found the helium balloon in a clump of trees near Genoa. It was a rough landing, and Kittinger wound up with a broken foot. But that didn't dampen his spirits. There was a brief champagne celebration with the flight crew. Then the 56-year-old adventurer was whisked off to a hospital in Nice, France, where he reflected on his journey.
The only anxious moment was on landing. It was bad area. It was mountainous terrain. There was thunderstorms. That's a good sign. There were thunderstorms on the other side of the mountains, and I had to land where I did. And I was
Next goal, the Pacific. Tim O'Donnell, ABC News.
Thank you.
Next, meteorologist Tom Clark will fly out to his backyard.
Tom, it sure was a nice day for a ride in a balloon anywhere today in this area, right?
That's something I've always wanted to do.
Yeah,
hot
me
air
too.
balloon. Yeah. Well, icing on the cake at this point, I think, would be to have temperatures a few degrees higher,
Oh,
maybe?
sure. We don't want to be greedy, but
Right.
yeah, why not?
Sure.
Hey, okay. I'll have the extended forecast when we come back.
Now you,
I know you'd like that.
Bloomsburg versus Stroudsburg, live Saturday.
One slight correction on our Action 16 story that you saw just a few moments ago with Jerry Gartenburg on those U.S. government-sponsored crash tests, like it's crashing in our studio right now. We want to make sure that you understand it was Ford Tempo that was one of the cars that was tested. We had said Ford Tiempo that you saw on your screen. It was the Ford Tempo involved in one of those crash tests from the U.S. government. Next.
Well, I think we better go out to the backyard because we just blew a light out in here. Tom, we could see you out there. How you doing?
It's not lightning, is it?
You guys okay in there?
Yeah, we're
no.
fine.
No, it's not lightning. The stars have once again come out in the backyard here, and oh, there's Joe's own. How you doing, Joe? It's beautiful. It's not quite as cool as it was last night, but nonetheless, it's very comfortable for sleeping once again. Feels like autumn. Summer, what's just 2 days left of summer now, huh? The temperature looks like this in my backyard. It's cooling off as it temperatures drop off down through the 60s into the 50s. 55 now, humidity 65%. The wind south at 6. Barometer holding steady. Still quite high. We had a range in temperature today of 70 and 45, 88 and 35, the all-time extremes for this date. Hey, and there's proof that somebody living in DuPont likes flowers tonight, and they have them on display there. Now, as we go to the latest Newswatch 16-color satellite picture, now take a look at this. You can go for more than 2,000 miles west of Pennsylvania and not hit any rain. It's kind of rare. You can see how clear it is. 92 in Billings, Montana this afternoon. That broke a record. But you know, they're measuring rainfall by the foot down in southern Texas since Sunday evening. Brownsville, Texas, they've had 13.5 inches of rain. And needless to say, there is flooding going on down there tonight. Now, I suspect more record-high temperatures will be broken again tomorrow in the upper Midwest as thermometers top 90 out that way. And between now and Friday, lots of heavy rain down in Florida. But for us, a continued flow of dry, mild air down from the northwest into Pennsylvania. A good time to wash the car, and you may consider watering the garden later this week because there won't be any water falling from the sky as I see it now through the weekend. So from our forecast for the rush hour tomorrow morning coming up, both the sun and the moon will be shining down from above. A cool start. I recommend a light jacket for the early morning hours. 48 in Carbondale, 44 out there in Sweet Valley. No frost tonight. 48 in Danville, Palmerton, 47, and the low in Millhaw, 47 degrees tomorrow morning. A few areas of river fog, but it won't be a widespread fog. Now for tomorrow, smooth sailing once again. Plenty of comfortable sunshine in the afternoon and temperatures just a few degrees higher than what they were today. Taylor, Tobyhanna, Towanda, Lairdsville, Lycoming County, Mount Carmel, all in the middle 70s tomorrow. Tobyhanna at 1,900 feet, about 69 degrees. Now, more scattered light towards morning. You can count on that. Sunrise at 6:48, and it goes down now at 7:06. Look at this board. Clear, sunny, nice into Friday, 73. And it should be nice on Saturday as well, with plenty of sunshine and no rain. But Karen and Nolan, I have more good news for you.
What's that?
The computers now indicate that for the period Monday through Friday of next week, we'll have above normal temperatures here in Pennsylvania.
Oh.
So, hey, that'd be
like
nice.
That computer.
All right.
In the 70s. It'll stay there.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay.
That's good
Still
news.
ahead, one false move, and, well, we don't want to think about that right now.
Plus, the magic numbers and the sweet taste of champagne. Joe Zone as the baseball watch on the 16 sports screen next.
How high will you try? $16,000 can be yours weekdays at 4.
They say if it's not one thing, it's another. And that seems to be the case with John DeLorean. The one-time auto executive was just cleared of cocaine trafficking charges. Now he's separated from his wife. Here are DeLorean and Christina Farrar in happier times. The couple had been living the glamorous life until DeLorean was arrested in a federal sting operation. Farrar, a former model, had stayed close by her husband during his trial. Now she's a TV talk show co-host in Los Angeles.
Great. I feel really great. Thank you.
Hollywood, I guess.
That's Hollywood. Everybody was kissing everybody in that scene. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Kiss, 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 kiss. How about that, Joe?
Yeah. Well, we should have stuck by him.
Yeah, right.
Bail out.
Yep.
Okay, they're celebrating tonight in Tigerland. Champagne time. The Tigers have won the division. Check it out. They started quickly in this game. Didn't take them long. Right off the bat, Trammell double. Whitaker the third. Parrish grounds out. Whitaker scores 1-0. And then, in the third inning, Parrish, a first single right here. Trammell will score, and the Tigers are up 2-0. 49,000 at the stadium tonight looking for the clinch. Seventh inning, Tom Brookins, home run, his fifth. 3-0. That was the final score. Hernandez strikes out the last out. 97 wins for the Tigers as they clinch it, their first title since 1972. Congratulations to the Tigers. Whoever would have thought? Not me. A lot of people did. Scoreboard, check it. Detroit 3, Milwaukee nothing. Boston beat Toronto anyway, so Detroit did not have to win tonight. Final score in that game. Elsewhere, the Yankees got a home run from Mattingly, a grand slam from Pagliarulo. They beat Baltimore 10-2. 3 teams still in it in the West. Minnesota chasing Kansas City and losing some ground. Check the action in this game. Off the bat, Minnesota started fast. Bernansky with a 2-run double made it 2-0. Then Mickey Hatcher followed with a double. Watch this shot. And Minnesota goes out 3-0. Now they went into the game down by a full game to Kansas City. Kittle gets Chicago going in the 4th with this home run. A guy is on base. It's 3-2 Chicago. And then Harold Baines, his 4th home run in 2 games right here. Bang, is that out of here. That makes it 3-3. Chicago got 2 more in the 7th on Pachork's triple. 5-3, Chicago leading. If they hold on, that means that Minnesota will lose at least a half game unless we see what happens to Kansas City and check the scoreboard and find out. Right now, Kansas City, California, no score. Don't forget, Kansas City is a game up on Minnesota, a game and a half on California going in tonight. That's the only race. Well, the Phillies and the Mets tonight. Phillies got up to a 4-0 lead with Denny on the mound. Couldn't hold it. Then Strawberry's 3-run home run in the 8th inning. The winner, and the Mets beat the Phillies. They go 3 games up now in that battle for second place, 8-5 the final. Check the Cubs and see what they did today. They're still trying to pitch. They let a chance get away against the Pirates. They led 1-0 in the 2nd. Leon Durham's 22nd home run into the right field seats. That didn't last long, though, because Dennis Eckersley had retired the first 10 batters. He gave up back-to-back home runs. First one to Lee Lacy, his 12th. Then to Johnny Ray, his 6th. Pittsburgh took a 2-0 lead, 2-1 lead. The Cubs got a run in the bottom of the 6th. Doug Frobel dropped Ron Say's fly ball. That sent Gary Matthews home. 3-2, Pirates led. The Pirates came back with 4 in the 8th. Ray's triple, the big hit, and the Pirates won it 6-2, and so it's still a magic number of 4 for the Chicago Cubs. Mets 8, Phillies 5. Mets are still alive. Pittsburgh beat Chicago 6-2. San Diego's magic number 4 also. They beat Cincinnati today. Final score 2-0. Okay, Pocono Downs tonight. 3rd race, and the 4-horse is the one to keep your eye on. That's Penny's Kid, and he's going to make the big stretch run. Watch Penny's Kid come from the outside. Check the numbers up there. Daily double. 1-7, 2140, and the 3rd race triple, 491, 167.10. The fish and game forecast for tomorrow looks like this. 9 o'clock. Tigers are the first team to clinch. The Cubs still looking. San Diego still looking, and who knows in the West.
Any prediction? Think the Cubs will make it?
I think the Cubs are going to win it all.
Okay.
Everything.
Okay.
All right, Jill, thank you. Still ahead, taking a walk between the wings of the New York Museum.
But first, tonight's lottery numbers. The daily number 160, and the lotto numbers 40, 13, 25, 18, 7, 32, the alternate 34. We'll be right back. Finally tonight, we've already shown you the man who crossed the Atlantic in a balloon.
Well, that's not the only daredevil we have tonight, as the Newswatch 16's update video circus comes your way. This guy, who goes by the name of Philippe Petit, was walking high above the streets of the Big Apple today on a high wire. But as dangerous as this stunt may look, it's really nothing for Philippe. Back in 1974, he walked a tightrope between the towers of the World Trade Center, some 1,350 feet up. Today's high wire act was really just a publicity stunt to attract attention to an exhibit on daredevils at the New York Museum.
Yeah, that would attract attention, all right.
Yeah, man.
That's Newswatch 16 update for tonight.
Next, the Nightline, the war on pornography and how censorship could affect almost everything we read and see.
For the update team, thanks for being with us.
Good night.
Good night.